What's up, everybody? It's Kyle with another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. Aloha, happy Monday. And going to be going over to Mount Washington adventure just for the next 10 minutes. And my boy Jared, who I was rooming with, has become a close friend, was telling me in a hotel room he loves listening to these podcasts. I said they're refreshing because they're not overdone. I take out my phone, open my computer, and I go. There's no studio. It's just me talking to the phone. Sometimes I record it on my walk. And there's a lot of lessons in that, right? Good is good enough most of the time. So, for the fifth year in a row, my brother and I, Sugar Shane, have done Mount Washington. We climbed last Wednesday. Some of the guys, it was their first time. Some were second timers. Some were third timers. And it's always in the event a big ordeal. There's fear. You're putting yourself in danger. You're putting your body through a grind. It's a 10-hour up and back, traversing the snow and the ice. And I'll admit, first lesson I'm going to go over is be ready. Always be ready. So you don't have to get ready. I did zero training for this, guys. Just with the baby, everything going on in life. Just didn't get to it. Besides my regular training. And my body held up pretty good. Now this is a grinder. Like your body will break down on this if you're not physically fit. There's no way you could do it. A little bit of cramping, but you just breathe through that. You know, a lot of times the cramps are brought on when you're breathing incorrectly. Start building up acidity in the body. But the main first lesson is be ready, stay ready, so you don't got to get ready. You should always have a really good baseline of fitness. Now, wherever you're starting, you just build. You build on that. It's not built overnight. But are you moving every day? Why are you not ready? And that just goes across the board, I believe. Right now, if you have a physique competition, like I'm going to be doing in April, my fat shredder contest for Newell Strength, I'll dial it up a notch just for cosmetic purposes. But it has nothing to do with the condition that I'm in, right? As far as the endurance, the muscular strength, all that good stuff. So that's the first thing. And with that too, got home Thursday, went for a hike with the kids and the pups. My legs were shot, but I knew movement was key to my recovery as well as my fasting in the cold tub. Friday, did a dynamic effort lower body workout. Speed, used some decent weights. But I knew I had to recover the nervous system. Saturday, hit a workout. And I'm feeling pretty good today. I did not play basketball yesterday, just resting the legs a little bit. You get sore in some weird spots, but today I feel pretty darn good. The second thing, the second lesson, especially for you men, you have to do stuff that's tribal and rugged. Tribal, there was 10 of us. There's usually a nice group of us that go up. We have the same guides every year. But we put ourselves in this, John Eldredge talks about wild at heart. We are meant to go out there and do stuff like this, not to avoid stuff like this. Whether you want to call this my misogi for the year, that remains to be seen. I'm sure I'll have some other tough stuff coming up this year to challenge myself, but the ruggedness, even for you ladies, what are you doing to challenge yourself? I believe in these physical challenges, you find another gear. You get to put to the test the way you live. Like when I did the marathon a few years ago, I knew I was going to hit a wall, right? I don't really have the physique to do long distance running, especially 26 miles. And I got to that mile 16 and it was like, boom, body's shutting down. All right, now it's go time. What's the self-talk going to be up here? How are you going to get through this? But the ruggedness, whether it's hunting, it's that primalness. That's part of the reason I love fasting. It's something primal. Part of the reason I teach that you have to hit workouts during your fast. It's primal. You're hunting while you're fasting. but the ruggedness. And some of these guys, this will be the highlight of their year. It's one of the highlights of my year. Right? You're getting away. It's a quick trip. You're not out there partying, and we celebrate afterwards, but it's not like a week-long thing. We go on a Tuesday, get there Tuesday late afternoon, climb all day Wednesday, hit the hot tub, have some beers, chill out, reminisce. We left by 5:30 Thursday morning, back home by noon. So you can fit this stuff in, guys, but find something rugged to do. Good morning, Jeff. Find something rugged to do. Now, the last lesson is pick out small targets. So on the way up, when it's just starting to burn, a little bit of nausea kicks in, you're fatigued, right? And you're exposed on the mountain. It'd be very easy to just stop. So what I do is I pick small targets. I'll look like 5 feet ahead. I'll see a boulder. Okay, make it to that boulder. Then I pick a track that's in front of me. So, the guy in front of me is boot print. All right, make it to that. Make it to that. Make it to that. You can make it to that. Make it to that. So the picking small steps out, right? And this applies to life. Think small, right? If you got a big goal, break it down. What's the next step? Think too far ahead, you're not going to have clarity. You're going to go into freeze mode. Which brings up another part of the mountain that I was using, the think small approach. Thank you for the like. We came down a different way. So we're coming down, we come up the steeps through the ice wall. We got to actually climb almost straight up. Now, I don't like heights, so that part's always a little tricky for me. We normally come down that way with ropes. So we're getting back to the tree line, right? Because you make it to the top, you still got to make it back down. That's another 4 or 5 hours. We did some cool stuff. I think it's called glass skating. We slid down 3 parts of the mountain on our butt using our ice axe as a brake. It kind of reminded of being kids. But you see that Tuckerman's Ravine, that's like a 2,000-foot drop right to the bottom. That's out in front. So that's always like, ooh, don't go near that. Don't go too fast on this. But we're coming back down to the tree line, and I see an avalanche sign. And my thought is, how have I never seen this avalanche sign? Been doing this 5 years. I'm like, did they just put that up? Well, we split to the right. And one of the guys, the owner of the outfit, Keith, had gone up ahead of us. He wanted to take us down the summer trail. Said the ice wall was too icy to go down. So he went up and dug this trench across the mountain, 150 yards. Now you're on the side of the part of the mountain. It's about a 45-degree slope, very steep. Ice and snow. They said there was no risk of avalanche this time of year, or over there anyway. There was an avalanche in Tuckerman's Ravine the day before. That was on the news because there was a snowboarder that was in front of the avalanche. It was pretty crazy. Again, I don't like heights, right? So he dug out this trench, and I'm thinking, man. One of the guys actually said to me, Dave said to me, we're sitting up there just waiting. What are you thinking? I said, I'm not thinking. I'm just sitting. But my soul was like, man, how are you going to do this? So the guides came back. They got all dug. The one guy, Brendan, says, Kyle, you come up front. Keith's going to rope you to him. So he roped me to him, tied off some knots. I'm about 3, 4 feet behind him. So you're going first. And I said, all right, we're doing this. I try not to look around too much. And I would just watch Keith's feet. I was watching his feet, staying tight to the wall, put my ice axe into the snow and ice. Boom, another step, another step. Right? The same prayers, but I was watching his feet. I wasn't looking around, getting distracted. Again, think about life. If you have to work, you got something you got to create. Creation is like an amazing gift that we have. What's the next step? What's the next part of that book? What's the next part of that video you got to make? Whatever it is. I was talking to Keith. At one point, I actually slipped. And thank goodness there was a lone tree right there, a little tree. I grabbed it on my belly. Pulled myself back up, scrambled. A couple of guys went to absolute freeze mode on the side of that mountain. It was treacherous. They said basically if you slip, you could die. Because you had that 45-degree slope. That went for about 70 to 80 feet, I would guess. There's a couple trees there, down there, and then there was a cliff, right? So you had to be very careful. One of the guys slipped, the other guy grabbed his backpack, held on to him, kind of pushed him against the wall. But if I was looking too far ahead, now I was playing little mental games with myself, talking to Keith. Are we halfway yet? Yeah, we're halfway. Once you get past this, we're just going through the trees. So think small, guys. Pick little targets. Know what the bigger vision is. Our bigger vision was to get back to the parking lot. We summited, get back to the parking lot. But on that journey, you got to pick out small steps the entire way. When the mind starts thinking too far into the future, too far ahead, you start getting anxious because there's less prediction. The brain is a pattern recognition machine, prediction and response. So think small, pick small targets. It was a great event. One for the record books. We did some really different stuff this year, but we lived to tell about it. And that's the name of the game. All right, I got to run to a meeting. There was a question, how often can you do a 72-hour fast? You can do that every week if you want. Really depends on your goal. In this month's newsletter, which gets mailed to your house, I'm outlining my entire fat loss protocol. Man, there's like 10 things. I have my notebook right there that are going to be in there that I'm going to be utilizing come mid-April. Never put it all in one place. It gets mailed directly to your house. If you want to subscribe, that's awesome, Dennis. Dennis is down 30 pounds, more energy than ever. You got it, man. Great job, Dennis. In this month's newsletter, it's $49 a month. Cancel at any time. I'm outlining my entire fat loss protocol, top secret. I'll probably sell it as a manual at a much higher price point down the road. You're welcome, Michelle. But if you want to subscribe, I don't have the webpage up yet for the newsletter. Just shoot me a text or a DM. My number is 908-229-6666. It'll be shipped out at the end of next week. You'll be able to put this fat loss protocol to use. It's going to be a game changer for many of you. You guys have a great day. Thanks for all the support. Later.